Yo, double O.
I'm back.
Oh yeah, there we go, man. We can hear you. We can hear you. We can hear you. I don't know. I don't know if we need to turn down your mic or turn it up, but don't mess with it. Just leave it alone. Hang on. All right, we'll find out from the people soon. All right, all right. Stagnation, crypto warriors. It's a beautiful morning. Top of the morning to you. Merry Christmas to everyone, by the way, man. I was going to make a Christmas post, but I didn't because I was busy enjoying some chicken. But let's take this moment to let everyone know Happy New Year ahead of time. How was your Christmas, Double O?
Oh man, Christmas was great. Trying to make it back to the country right in time for Christmas,
Yeah.
and then of course spending Christmas with the neighbors, which was a blast,
Mm,
and the rest with the family. So yeah,
yeah. All
easy
things
peasy.
all things considered, I would say it's much more successful than
hmm
last time. You know, because I think last time you were stuck there because you had to get some shots and so on and so forth.
Oh,
Which,
last year, man, last year
yeah, no,
Christmas. Oh,
last year you got stuck in Nigeria for a while. Like you
oh,
couldn't
thanks for
leave.
COVID,
Yeah.
man. Thanks for COVID.
Hey, it's all good. We're here. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I think we have a few people joining us now. Today, we're going to be taking a look at some social attacks on Bitcoin. Let me cut the music here. Some social attacks on Bitcoin, despite the growing adoption, and there is growing adoption, as many of us can already see, right? And then after that, I would like to get a little bit of your take, Double O. I mean, you just came back from Nigeria.
hmm
These are some of the places that we think absolutely need Bitcoin,
hmm
right? We know that the systems there are absolutely corrupt. The people there cannot save any money because, massive debasement all the time. And
Yep.
that applies to various countries across the globe. So we would like to just, I think you can give an insight from someone who has been on the ground
Yep.
outside of articles. Abi,
Yep.
let's get to it. All right. So, oh man, right off the bat, man, we have Goodness Uche in the building. He says, greetings from AKA Abuja. Oh, Goodness Uche is in Abuja?
Yeah. All the way from Abuja, man, the
I was not
capital
aware.
of the country. Yeah.
Absolutely incredible. Love it. Well, as you know, Bitcoin is one of those things that I was going to say uses electricity. It uses electricity like everything else,
We all use electricity.
right? Electric vehicles, it has it in its name, games, computers, so on and so forth. However, there's a group of people who believe that Bitcoin seems to be using a disproportionately, I guess, grossly more amount of electricity than anything else, and that the outcomes of this electricity use is absolutely useless, if you will.
Hmm.
However, for what is the future of finance, I think otherwise. You know, when we look at things like Mastercard, when we look at electric vehicles themselves, okay, would one say that it is justifiable to have a group of people suffering in, I guess, mines, if we want to call them that, right? For the resources that are required to create batteries and so on and so forth. There is human labor. Uh, I mean, it's I guess you could call it suffering. I don't want to go all the way to say slavery, but it is poor conditions that people work in to produce all of these electronics that people in the first world use. These are just problems that we deal with as people, right? Now, when we switch over to Bitcoin, we see that we can eliminate some of those things. For example, we go back to the same mining situation we're talking about. We can remove some of this child labor in exchange, right? Child labor for gold, right? Because that's mostly what a lot of it is for. In exchange for, um, you know, computer mining and having a digital asset that is absolutely great for everyone to use. Now, what I'm talking about here is there is a whole community, company, what would you say, organization that is
hmm
set around funding Bitcoin. And I just came across this the other day. I wasn't even aware of this. If you guys knew about this, let us know in the comments. But there's a company called Clean Up cleanupbitcoin.com, and it sounds like it's something that should be incredible, right? We're trying to help Bitcoin here, blah blah blah, so on and so forth. So it says you've heard Bitcoin fuels the climate crisis. Bitcoin fuels the climate crisis, but did you know a software code change could clean it up?
Yeah, we go
Which I
again.
don't think
Yeah,
that's
we go
I
again.
don't think that's
They're
possible.
trying to check the
Let's be
Bitcoin
fair.
software again. Like,
Right?
let's go to
Exactly.
proof of stake. What kind of BS is that?
Exactly. And again, this is all social attacks, right? I think maybe the most they can get out of this is getting more people to move towards Ethereum, right? So let me move the article somewhere where it's more visible here. Just give me a second. I think that works. That
Yeah,
works.
yeah,
Yeah.
that works.
So it says recent estimates show that Bitcoin has used more electricity than Sweden. Guess what? I think electric cars use more electricity than Sweden
Wait a
too.
second though. Sweden is
Uh,
a small country. Bitcoin is a
yeah,
global solution. We're talking about global. So why are you talking about tiny little Sweden? Come on, that makes no
exactly.
sense.
Hey, people in Sweden also use Bitcoin. I'll point this out to them. But this is not even the main piece because here's what happens. First page, they have all this FUD set up on their website. And at the end here, they say, we know enough. It's time to act. However, this is the one that really struck me. So this organization changed the code. Apparently, is writing to MasterCard, calling on MasterCard to reverse a decision that will enable Bitcoin to continue its climate pollution. And so it reads, for immediate release, right? This is on December 1st when they released this
Uh-huh.
buffoonery, if you will, right? And it says MasterCard is called on to reverse a decision that will enable Bitcoin to continue its climate pollution, letting banks offer trading, cryptocurrency trading to their clients will bring coal and gas plants back to life and worsen the climate change crisis. Okay. And it's, we're going on and on here, and it says it undermines the whole mission, all right, to reach net zero carbon emissions by 2050, which I
I,
think even without Bitcoin, we're not going to reach that. What do you think?
dude, man, I'm like steaming like crazy right now. What the heck is going on here? So
Hey,
this reminds me of Germany saying, "Oh yeah, ESG, ESG," and then we find
mm,
out later that all these European countries that are pushing ESG are like the major, biggest abuser of
yeah,
anything climate, like
absolutely.
getting gas from Russia, getting name it. So what I don't understand here with this. Oh, I think this reminds me of how you pay Newswire to
Yeah.
push your fraud out there, and then you put it on different channels. That's
Mm,
exactly what these guys are doing here. This is an attack at Bitcoin from a different angle, right? So you
mm,
use misinformation or acting as if you are the source of information or the knowledge and then misdirect people. That's exactly what this is. This is exactly what this is.
absolutely. Extremely dramatic, disingenuous, honestly. It's really low class of these people, right? So they say some things like, it could cost us the planet and so on and so forth. I mean,
Bitcoin will
just
cost us the planet, or Bitcoin is going to save the planet.
no, they say it could cost us the planet, despite the fact that we know that Bitcoin is actually using some of the most
Bitcoin
clean
is out
sources
here.
of energy or taking
Exactly.
away from, like say like gas flaring, right? We use
Exactly. That's what I'm about
that's
to
being used.
say. Like Bitcoin is literally out here saving us from the abuse of energy and
Yeah.
making it more efficient, and you're over here saying the opposite. Like, literally, do you even
Hey,
understand how the technology works?
listen, we will see what happens with this. I think that it is interesting that there is so much dedication, right? And I think, it's kind of, when you look at Ethereum and the mission that they have going on there, I feel like this is part of that mission, right? To get people to, because if you cannot stop it, right, the next best thing you can do is to corner it or corner the people from getting to it, if you
Yo,
will.
they asked ChatGPT the other day, how do you bring down a blockchain? Misinformation is on the list. So of course, this is a misinformation attack right here. And by the
Right.
way, why would you want to go to the banks as your approach to attack Bitcoin? Of course, it makes sense. That's the number one competitor. You have the banking system, which is the biggest abuser of energy. All these big giants. And yet, still the banks in your city, they have the tallest buildings with nobody inside.
Move
You know
closer to your
how much
mic.
energy- Oh yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah.
You know how much energy it costs to save fiat? How much war we have to go to save fiat and gold?
Yeah.
That's what's gonna kill the planet right there, man.
Yeah.
Not
I mean,
Bitcoin.
it takes a whole military complex, right, to protect fiat and the things that are developed from it. So, which I don't think Bitcoin will ever reach that level of energy consumption. So, it is what it is. But I think that is just absolute Now, the University of Cambridge, I don't
Oh,
even know if that's a real university anyway, because most of their sources are University of Cambridge. When you
Cambridge
start looking
Research.
into this,
Is
clean
that
the
the
code.
Facebook people? The
Um.
interrupt the election season people?
Oh yes, I guess they fall in that range. Absolutely, they definitely fall in that range. But despite all of this happening, right? Despite this group of people who are, because you have to think about it, these are people with a lot of money, right? And they are able to, or at least historically, they can throw a ton of money at anything that they want to see change, and generally it will change.
Hmm.
But I think they're meeting their challenge here. I think they're meeting their master, if you will, when it comes to Bitcoin. Because despite this, we can see that Bitcoin adoption is still going on around the world,
Mm.
right? We have, of course, uh, is it El Salvador
Brazil,
again? Brazil, El
Brazil
Salvador.
just
You know what I
made it.
mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. They're signing these bills saying that they're going to regulate it and so on and so forth. But I
Mm-hmm.
think that it is ultimately it is again an advertisement for Bitcoin.
Mm-hmm.
And at some point in time, I think everyone is going to have to get to this point where they realize that the whole system would have to change. You cannot apply Bitcoin into the traditional framework, if you will, right?
Because
So
the traditional framework is the real problem.
it is the
It's the
problem.
fraud that we're trying
Yeah,
to fix.
it's certainly the problem. And then, of course, you also have the other angle where you have other countries that see now that you can engage in international trade with other countries without the current regulations that are in place by the Western world upon the rest of the world, right?
Russia, baby, Russia. By the way, did
Well,
you know
stop
that?
saying Russia so happily, sir. You don't want to get. You don't want to get. No, I'm kidding. No, I'm kidding. But it provides a different another window, right, for global trade to happen differently, and I think that this can change the whole environment. Now, you've been to Nigeria recently. What are your thoughts?
Oh man, my Nigerian trip is a clear definition of why Bitcoin is needed.
Yeah,
And why CBDCs are really bad news. Really bad news. We'll talk about Bitcoin adoption. I think Nigeria is like number 6 or 7 in terms of adoption around the world.
yeah,
And this is not even the entire population yet. A lot of people still don't even know what Bitcoin is, and they're already number 6. And I
right.
think the situation on the ground, and I'm sure Goodness Uche can reflect to this, makes people see the need for the technology. We might be
Mm,
behind. We might be behind on the 21st century, but Bitcoin helped during the old event in Lagos 2 years ago when they had the
yeah,
old toll gate situation and people got killed and they were still able to get funded, even though
right.
banks were shutting down people's bank accounts. That's just historic information. But Bitcoin on the ground in Nigeria now, today, a few days ago while I was in Nigeria, first you get on a flight to go from the US to Nigeria. There's now this global health tracking system now, which could be a major issue when CBDs get implemented. So if you don't have a COVID shot, apparently you can't travel from the US to Nigeria. So if CBDCs get implemented, they can literally shut down your bank account or prevent you from traveling across borders because you don't fall in line with their specific agenda. So you first of all have to overcome that. Then you get on the line on the ground in Nigeria, which goes back to the main topic you just mentioned. The first thing you gotta do is change currencies. You gotta go from US dollar to Naira. If you don't
Mm,
have any Naira with you when you're traveling, you need money to get your carts, to get from the airport to the garage, and then pay to get out. So you gotta exchange dollar for Naira,
right.
which then there's the black market price, and then there's the banking price, the CBN price. So you're definitely gonna get short change on that. That people literally walk on the street saying with big stacks of money on their hands saying you can change dollar for naira at a specific rate. You still get straight out of that rate, by the way, but you pay a pretty high for that transfer rate, close to 20%. So if I said I wanted 10,000 naira, I probably pay like 400 or 500 naira towards that exchange. If we were all Bitcoining or we were all using sats, literally
Hmm.
to go from the US to Nigeria, I'm using the same currency. There's no exchange, there's no difference to exchange currencies. That's number one solution right there, right? So getting that solution would save not just the citizens, but the economy as well. So there's always this issue about money flight or financial flight. People
Oh yeah,
thinking
capital flight. Yeah,
capital flight, right? Like, oh, people going to move their money from the US to other countries. Not really. You can just use the money where it best benefits them. So you move your Bitcoin from, you don't really move it, you just use it as a transaction. So it's not really capital flight like they make it look like. It's not economic business because Bitcoin is not it's borderless. So you
yeah,
use it in Nigeria for a transaction does not mean that you still can't use it for a transaction in the US. It's just that I happen to be in Nigeria at the moment and I need it for a transaction, so I'm using it for that transaction. So that's number one solution right there. Then you get to the US, you have to try to, you can't take over 10,000 US dollars across the borders without notifying the government. That's another big issue.
yeah,
So it goes back to the whole issue about capital flight. Are you telling me now that the $10,000, I can't, it impacts US economy if I take $10,000 out of the US and then go and use it in Nigeria? So, and then I think it goes back to the whole colonization stuff where the economy is so bad in Nigeria that, 10,000 could make a big impact in other countries, but you don't want to give them that level up. So you
yeah,
prevent just the amount of funding that goes into those countries. Kind of like what happened to Zimbabwe, why they shut down their currency because of they decided to push out the colonizers from their land, which is kind of crazy. There's a lot of things that Africans are going through that people don't really realize they have to go through. So yeah, so you limit the amount of money that goes into the country, you bring some dollars into the country, then you go into the bank, take the dollar, you deposit it into your USD account in Nigeria, which is currently a very big thing because access to US dollar is very rare in Nigeria because the bank is not holding it itself. So you go in there and you want to exchange your money with the bank. Of course, you don't want to do that because the CBN price is probably like five something, and then the black market price is like 740, 735 if you can get a good deal, maybe 720 on some days. So you do the transaction with the black market, which is what most people do, and you transfer the money into your Naira account. You also pay some sort of fee for that. If it's the black market, you don't really pay a fee, but if you're doing it in the bank, you pay a fee. So again, another fee. So you go around Nigeria using the Naira. Guess what? Nobody is using the e Naira. That is the big CBDC that Nigeria has been pushing. There is not a single store that I've seen accepting the e Naira.
yeah.
Everybody's still
Now,
using paper currencies.
were you able to see anywhere where they accepted Bitcoin though?
Yeah, so in Lagos,
Yeah.
there are specific restaurants or places that you go to that if you ask them if they want to accept Bitcoin, they will accept Bitcoin. So when people say Nigeria is adopting Bitcoin, the 6%, number six on the list, I didn't see much of that where I was. And
Mm.
we are still number six. So imagine if the major stores and everybody was already accepting Bitcoin. Imagine what number that would be, given the population of Nigeria or the population of Lagos. So that was one thing that I saw that was a little bit different from what I was saying in the news articles was that there weren't still a lot of places that were adopting Bitcoin. But what I understood was that people were trading Bitcoin. Nigerians are crazy about trading crypto. It's crazy. Like the youngest kids, 17, 15 years old, is trading crypto.
Right.
But they're also trading Bitcoin. You know how you can trade you can do a call or a long or a short on Bitcoin?
Of
A
course.
lot of Nigerians are using that as a way to raise funds for themselves to survive. All they need is a laptop, access to Binance, and then that's all they do. A lot of them also use Paxful and all those other tools for to get access to old Bitcoin. I'm a little concerned though. A lot of Nigerians are not Bitcoin holders. They don't hodl, they trade.
Mm.
So the adoption is good, but it's not the old and other Bitcoiner kind of community from what I've seen. It's more of a trader type community. So I'm actually teaching my cousins to say, you want to hold Bitcoin, not necessarily trade like everybody else's.
Absolutely. But I think it's probably it's a different environment, right? And I think maybe over time, right, we get to this place where people start to transact in it even more, right?
Well,
Because they could not do the same thing using just nairas, right? They will not be able to raise funds as they are using Bitcoin. So I would say that it seems to me that that is also another use case. The fact that they're able to get into this asset that no one else, that the government cannot necessarily control, and raise funds for themselves. But this is a lot to unpack, actually,
yeah,
for sure.
yeah, yeah.
So we'll probably have to do another, discuss this more on our channel, right? Because we're already out of time here. But I'm just going to look at some comments here before we go. Well, actually, we don't have many comments. We just have BK Crypto. He says, "What's up, guys?" And well said.
Hey,
And he also makes a comparison to, I guess,
Iran.
what we're describing here to Iran as well,
Yeah.
right? So they have sort of a similar situation. But this is a very interesting one, Double, and I think we should definitely follow up on this and share more details
Guess what happened while I was
on
in
the
Nigeria?
adoption. What
Guess
happened?
what happened? The CBN put a $25 limit on how much you can spend with the
And how
US.
much you can withdraw?
Like really, like literally, like you can't withdraw more than $25 a day. What kind of BS is that?
Hey, listen, man. I just like to remind people that when you see all these laws and all these rules and regulations, man, it was just another person's idea. We also have our own ideas, and I think that we are coming to a point in time where this previous generation of fiat and leadership and everything else is just fading away. It's now our turn. Our generation really is now crossing. Millennials are the greatest, make up most of the workforce now,
Hmm.
right? But we're still being led by people from 1980 or 60 or no, not 1980. That's too
70s.
early.
Some
Yeah, some
70-80-year-old president that we
right.
have.
You know what I mean? From people who saw the first car that was like wine to start. You know what I mean? And so as we come in, right, as a new generation, I think that we just need to readjust things so that it fits our culture, which is a digital culture.
Can I say something real quick?
Yes.
It goes back to that scientific research where the put those monkeys in the cage, and
Yeah.
then the generations after generations get used to the trigger. That's exactly what's going on here. Is that our generation is refusing to accept the norm. Like time changes, and with time changes, technology, institutions, culture change, and we're trying to tell the generation before us that their time is then, but we don't want to get used to their ways of doing stuff because
Yeah.
technology, innovation, AI has changed that. And blockchains like Bitcoin wants to make the financial systems more efficient. And the fact that you are used to it does not mean that it has to be the way for our generation. We want to make it better for
Yeah.
everybody. As a matter of fact, save the planet from this
Uh,
ESG nonsense.
it's like watching Moses come down with his staff and tell Elon, this is how you build an electric car. Madness. Oh, people, the clock is ticking. Ladies and gentlemen, until next time, brazen out.
Double O out. I miss you guys,
Oh,
man.
man, that's crazy.